Well, welcome to this evening's fireside chat. It's Sunday evening, and tradition so far is to have a fireside chat next to the fire, out on the open area, underneath the stars. And just as a little bit of a spice up for tonight, we actually have the Birmingham boys. That coalition of 5 male lions is lying right there, about 200 meters away from us. And I, for one, would love them to walk through the fireside chat with us tonight. But we are going to be keeping a weather eye open on our left-hand side. There's not much in terms of general game here to give away their presence if they had to. So it's up to the crew at the moment to keep me safe and for me to keep them safe on the other side of the corner. But I must say, on a recap for the week, what is my highlight of the week? And I'd have to say that the sighting that we had the other day with the lioness with the 3 cubs, one of the sticks females lying up in the drainage line close to Twin Dams, for me that had to be my sighting or the highlight that I have of the week. What we've done is we've prepared a little reel for you. We're going to be playing it here, and I'm going to be running through it for you. So what had to stand out for me is the fact that the light was just so fantastic. This lioness was on her own, she was with her cubs, and she was just really just trying to be just the best mom possible. She had a bit of an ear infection which spiced up the sighting a little bit, but these cubs were just really joyful to watch. They were playing with one another, jumping over one another, they were hunting one another, they were fighting with one another. It really was one of those sightings that from beginning to end didn't really have any lull in it whatsoever. It was just non-stop action from start to finish. Mom then took cubs and had a drink, and her reflection in the water was just something phenomenal. We stayed there. I must have been in that sighting for close to an hour and a half. It definitely made Jandre and Maya's day, and I'm sure after seeing the footage that we've prepared for you, made your reminisce on how good it actually was. Another interesting topic was the cubs actually starting to show us that this instinctual behavior of trying to play with one another, hunting, fighting, really was quite incredible. And then literally right in front of us, she flopped down in the sand, and when she was finished with that, the little cubs were busy biting her tails. I mean, don't you think that was really just a phenomenal sighting? Wow, I must be honest with you, I'm getting not nervous over my shoulder over here, you know, watching for these lions, trying to watch the fire and everything else is actually adding a bit of spice. I'm quite liking this whole thing at the moment. It's not uncommon for lions to actually want to join fires like this. This is an anomaly in their particular habitat. They would have heard us setting this up, and they would be smelling the fire potentially if the wind is blowing in their direction. And I've known lions to come into my camps from time to time, trails camps at least anyway. I've even had a lion steal my dinner off of my plate from me. So another thing that came up throughout the theme of the week was interspecies competition. I say that I don't really like throwing out big words like this, but in this particular case it was something that we don't really witness, not because it's rare, but because it's actually quite difficult to film. What we had Tingana, a big male leopard on the property, kill a full-grown female kudu. But we didn't find this kudu literally for 24 hours. Scott started to look for this kudu, or Scott started to look at a bunch of vultures, and what I've done is prepared a reel for you to have a look at, and I'm going to run you through the sighting, starting with the vultures, because that's where the story started. We found lots of vultures in the tree. Scott found tracks of this male leopard on the ground. They were going in both directions. He quite rightly deduced which direction the leopard was going in. He then finished game drive after not finding anything after 2.5 hours. I took over in the afternoon, and literally in the last 5 minutes we managed to find a big male leopard eating a kudu. The next morning we get there expecting the leopard, and lions are busy finishing the kill. I mean, we were literally expecting to see hyena, perhaps the leopard still on the kill, and then in the end it was lions that were busy stealing that kill. Then they went to go and drink some water after they were finished. Very full bellies, leaving the reminiscence of the kill on the floor. And lo and behold, Tingana walks back into the sighting later on that afternoon. I mean, literally, we couldn't have wished for a better closing to the story. It really was quite nice. Now, the interspecific competition that we're seeing is competition between different species of animals for the same resource, and in this particular case it was the meat that Tingana had killed. It was a full-grown female kudu, and that's actually what allowed us to get in on the action. Generally speaking, when leopard make a kill and lion or hyena steal it, they come in and rip it apart and it's finished before we even get close to that. In this particular case, there was enough meat left over. Tingana had a full belly. He was very willing to to leave that particular area because there were a lot of lions there. And the Styx lionesses came in with the help of one of the Matimbas. I actually think there might have been 2 there. Pushed him off the kill and finished that kill. But it wasn't finished for Tingana. He must have been lying around literally just on the outskirts of that kill, and when he couldn't hear the lions there anymore, he came back to see if he could get any of his meat. We just thought that was such a nice thing to show you, because generally speaking, wow, just excuse me breaking up the story there, but we just had a leopard roaring literally on the other side of the camp, literally on the other side of the fire here. I'm expecting them to be lions, and we've got leopard just busy calling. So just listening some more. So, Charlie has asked what the greatest defense is that a leopard has to protect itself from this type of competition. Is it to hoist the kill, or is it to run away? And I think it would be a little bit of both. Lions are not very good at climbing trees. They can climb trees, they will climb trees if they can, but in this particular case, it was a full-grown kudu, and the only thing that Tingana could really do was run away. He couldn't hoist it into a tree, even though there were nice trees in the area. It was just too heavy for him to do. Full belly, he was quite happy to say, please come in and have some of my dinner. And in the end, I think they all got away with enough. The lions were full and the leopard were full. But I think we've got Jamie about to join us over here. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Steph.
How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good.
I made it.
I heard you were some hyena cubs on. Awesome.
We were. We had a wonderful time. The new baby made itself known to the whole audience, and we had some fantastic interaction with the mother protecting it from the slightly overly enthusiastic attentions of the other older cubs.
Oh, I must be honest, how awesome is that?
Oh, it was awesome, and I mean, it's such fun to be able to go and sit with them and really appreciate and enjoy that sighting, and to have them all to ourselves.
Jamie has just joined us. She's just started this week. What day did you start on?
I started driving officially on Wednesday afternoon.
Wednesday afternoon.
It was,
it seems
yeah.
Like you've been here forever already.
It
Already
is
part of the furniture, and she's only been here since Wednesday. I must be honest, it's fantastic. And already making such a massive contribution to the guiding team. There must be some highlight that you've had from this week, though.
Oh, absolutely, and it was very difficult to choose. And I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you to everybody in this part of this team for welcoming me into this area and to really making me feel comfortable. So if I had to pick my favorite moment, and this is a very special moment for me just because I was a little bit nervous to start out with, especially in my first few drives, and there's nothing like an elephant to make you feel just that little bit more comfortable. So
for you maybe.
For me maybe. They just exude such a calmness. So I'd like to just show you this clip of my favorite sighting of the week, and here it is. So we've got this baby nice and close. Very, very special moment, and one of the many reasons why I love elephants so much. And I always feel that it is such a privilege when they feel comfortable enough with your presence to actually move in that kind of way and to actually come and approach you.
All right. I mean, how fantastic was that? I mean, like, to have an elephant that close to your car, I mean, hey?
Well,
it doesn't happen every day.
As I said at the time, it is such a privilege when an elephant chooses to approach you and in a really calm state. And it's something that I've enjoyed so much about being in the Sabi Sands, is just the level to which the animals are comfortable around other vehicles and how naturally we actually get to see them behave around vehicles. So we don't seem to affect them in any way. And it's something that's actually come as a little bit of a change to me, especially because I had a fantastic few days, or the last 2 days, spent following around Shadow and Sindile. And the areas that I have worked in the past, the leopards have been somewhat skittish. So I've not actually had a real chance to properly sit and observe them and actually follow them, which is what I love so much about these live safaris, is you can actually go from day to day and follow the animal and see what it's doing.
Yeah.
And to have that opportunity with the leopards has just been truly special.
No, I say.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I must say the Sabi Sands is really special for the leopard that they have over here, and the habituation that the guides have done make it so easy for us to be in touch with these animals and really spend a lot of close and interactive time with them. It is quite nice. But I'm sure from a comfort point of view and being like part of the family, I'm gathering that all of our viewers want to know a little bit more about Jamie. So just a brief overview. Where are you from? Where did you come from? What led you here?
So my life summarized as efficiently as possible. I was born and raised in Johannesburg, but to parents and a family that really was passionate about the bush. So every school holiday that we could, we would travel and explore the different various varieties of bush throughout this amazingly diverse country. Just before I started at university, after I finished school, I went to work in a reserve in the Kalahari, and I absolutely fell in love with the place, and I knew that this was for me. But at that point, I had a place overseas at an overseas university at Cambridge to study law. So off I packed my bags and I went into the UK for 3 years. An incredible opportunity, and one that I am very grateful for. But I did discover that law is not potentially for me, at least not practicing law. So as soon as possible, I finished my degree and then moved straight back to South Africa and went into my guides training. And ever since then, I've actually been working at a slightly different background to the other presenters. I've been working at a research facility. So we worked with volunteers and then various research scientists, which is potentially where so much of my scientific fascination with anatomy comes from.
I must be honest, I've been listening to you over the radio and you're quite intimidating with all the natural stuff. I'm being hard pressed to keep up with you. But we've got Ellen in Illinois that would love to know, what's been your most memorable story in the bush so far? What's been a highlight for you in the bush so far? From a guiding point of view.
From a guiding point of view, my best one, well, I happen to be working in an area that was part of the Black Rhino expansion project. So essentially where they transport these animals and they're just slowly building up the population and moving them and expanding them back into their natural ranges. And I was fortunate enough to be part of one of these releases on a patch of land that probably hasn't seen black rhino in maybe 50, 60 years, and where they would have occurred naturally. So that very first moment, and it was something I got to share with some of the people that I was guiding at the time, we got to actually stand and watch the first black rhino in the area go running off into the bush.
Wow.
And for me, it was actually quite a magical moment.
And have you been back? Have you seen these rhino again?
I have seen the rhino again.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I have seen them. One of them is definitely pregnant. She's positively bulging. So already the project is doing some fantastic work. So very exciting stuff for me.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. It was nothing to do with me, but something I really got to enjoy.
Nice. Ellen also posed the question to me right now. And Ellen, I must say, there's a lot. I've been in the bush for 16 years already. There's, for me to relate a story, and I've developed some amnesia over the years as well. I've forgotten all the exciting stories. But the most recent one for me was an interaction with an elephant on a walk a couple of weeks ago. We were here, in actual fact, and we were walking down a drainage line. Scott and I were testing out this backpack for this walk, of course. So we were in the thick stuff, looking for this bull elephant. And we came up this drainage line, and there he was. He was standing just on the bank. And we got nice and close to him. The wind was like really blowing from him to us, so he couldn't really smell us. And there was a herd of elephant next to him. And I thought to myself, I'll get a little bit closer, because it's all likelihood he's going to be moving off to the elephant herd. And this elephant just proved me wrong. Once again, my predictions just not going where I think they're going to. And this elephant came walking down the path at us, stopped literally a couple of meters in front of us, gave us a big look like, wow, what are you doing in this area? And then walked off. So, you know, we didn't have to scream and shout. It was just a meeting
surprise.
of minds. It was quite nice. Very memorable sighting so far in the last couple of months. That was probably been my best one. So tell us, where were you exactly before you came here? And what was exactly what you were doing? Because it sounds like you were doing a lot more than just, you know, explain a little bit more about this research that you were doing.
We did a couple of different projects. So last year I was working on a PhD project with a woman from Australia. So she came out and joined us, and we found one pride of lions every day for 12 weeks, morning and afternoon.
Wow.
And we sat with them for a good hour minimum, close to 2. And that was one of the things I loved about working in research, was you're not put under any kind of time pressure. So if you want to stay with the animal for as long as possible, you can just say that to the people who are on the back of the vehicle. Guys, we're staying for as long as we need to. And that was something that I loved. We also work every year with French research students. So we take them in, they're undergraduate students, so just little projects. But for example, looking at rhino distribution. So what are the rhino feeding on? Whereabouts are they, especially with the release? So what habitats are they favoring, and how does their distribution relate to the other animals, for example, the lions or the other rhinos or the elephants? Just something fascinating that we've been working on. Talking
about lions, Pamela would like to know, what is your most favorable nighttime experience?
Oh, that's a difficult one.
Memorable one?
My most memorable one. My most memorable nighttime experience was probably coming back from one of my many exploratory drives that I've done while I've been here. Just before I started actually doing the presenting drives, I did a bit of exploration, and I wound up on a road that I thought was a road but wasn't, and it was in a drainage line, and I had a leopard calling really close to me. Couldn't find the thing. I knew it was there, but it was thick bush, and I was still negotiating my way around the vehicles, so I just had to figure out how to get out of that. But I'm sure that I will have many exciting nighttime experiences.
I'm sure.
Yeah, there's nothing like the journey from camp to Manuleti at the moment.
No, I know, it is quite exciting.
Yeah, I mean, last night we saw an elephant on the side of the road.
So Charlie would like to know whether you would use your legal training in any of the conservation stories that you've been busy with at the moment. Or are busy. Can you see yourself looking at doing something like that?
That is a very good question, and I was so incredibly fortunate to have had that opportunity to do the law degree, that it is something that I am seriously considering. You know, I'll never be a practicing lawyer, but I would very much like to use the knowledge that I was lucky enough to get, at least in some kind of conservation field. But we're talking sometime in the future. I'm not sure. I haven't decided exactly how or when, but it is something that I'm very keen on exploring.
Okay, good. Now, we have a surprise for you at the moment. James is back from Siberia, and he's going to be joining us for the last few minutes of the Fireside Chat. So I would like to welcome James. I can't hardly see where he is at the moment. There he comes through the bush. He's like fresh off the airplane, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Jamie.
Hi, James.
So James, tell us what you've been up to. It's been...
Well, it's been a tiring last few days, I must tell you. I have flown many miles. I, in fact, wasn't in Siberia. I was further east of Siberia, and not sure how good your Russian geography is, Russia is basically the European section, which is the western section. Then you have the Ural Mountains in the middle, and then you have Siberia, which is the enormous middle section going up into the Arctic Circle. And then you have the Russian Far East, and that's where I found myself, in the small town of Vladivostok, to start with.
Mouthful.
Not the most beautiful place in the universe, I have to tell you. Scenically very stunning. But basic summary of what we did was we drove through this one province. And the province is the size of Great Britain, one province. And in 6 days we covered about 2,500 kilometers, which is about, what, 1,600 miles probably. Yep. And we looked for bits and pieces. Ostensibly my main function there was to go and see if we could find some tigers, or not find tigers, but to assess tiger conservation projects. And I came to the conclusion that we're very lucky to live where we do, because the landscape is stunning at this time of year. It's bright, glorious green, huge expansive forests, very few people living there. And the whole province, so it's the size of Britain, there are only 2 million people, and 700,000 of those live in Vladivostok itself. So really big place. Not many people, lots of poverty, but beautiful landscapes. And there is wildlife there. We didn't see a huge amount. My mammal checklist includes, this is in the wild and not in rehabilitation centres, 1 chipmunk and 3 squirrels. Other than that, not a lot of mammal life going on. Well, there is there in the forest, but you really have to go and look for it. And the one thing that they don't seem to do that we do here, or that certainly that the local people do here, is tracking. They do it more in the winter because it's easy in the snow, but they don't have the tradition of it like we do here. And I think they'd really benefit from something like that.
Something that's going across the world like a firestorm at the moment. I'm quite excited. We've got 2 very skilled trackers on site at the moment that I'd love to introduce you to through the week. But what we're going to be doing is we are going to be closing with James has brought his guitar, and I understand that everyone's quite a big fan of James and his guitar. So we're actually going to let James play some music as we finish off this fireside chat and as we close down this the sunset safari today. And so on behalf of myself and Jamie and James, I'd like to say good night, and we'll catch up. James and Jamie will be on safari tomorrow. I'm going to be behind the scenes again, and take it away, Maestro, I should say.
The song I'm going to play is called Afrika Gukhala Bangwele, which means Africa, your innocent cry. And it was just something that popped into my head as I climbed off the enormous Airbus A380 this morning, back in Africa. And it was just a lovely feeling to be back here, and especially as I drove in today. And so, Afrika Gukhala Bangwele. Rain falling like a symphony on the rooftop of my heart. There's a movement in the whispering deep before the new dream starts. I see your eyes shining like a neon lamp. They're laughing in the dark. What made you so strong? What made you so strong? I've been waiting all my life for this, to see how the deal goes down. There's an AK-47 on the dashboard. You know Mercy's left town, and you just say Afrika Gukhala Bangwele, we Afrika Gukhala Bangwele, we ma Afrika Gukhala Bangwele, we Afrika Gukhala Bangwele, we ma la la. Light a candle for the innocent ones, a candle for our love. I say a prayer for some peace on earth, for the daughters and the sons. And your life unfolds like a cheap street fight. You're laughing in the dark. What made you so strong? What made you so strong? replaced by political regrets. You've been walking on the water again, but your feet never get wet, and you just say Africa kukhala bangwele, we Africa kukhala bangwele, we ma Africa kukhala bangwele, we Africa kukhala bangwele, we ma la la. This is where Brent usually starts to dance. We Africa kukhala bangwele, we Africa kukhala bangwele, we ma Africa kukhala bangwele, we Africa kukhala bangwele, we Africa kukhala bangwele.